Well, good morning from Washington, D.C., everyone. So glad you could join us for this special coverage of Inauguration Day 2021, one of the most important political moments in the United States, the much vaunted peaceful transfer of power happening in the most extraordinary of times and circumstances. It is 32 minutes past the hour of 12 on January the 20th, 2021, which means for 32 minutes, the United States has had a new president. Its 46th president, Joseph R. Biden Jr., has taken the oath of office.
Shireen Abu Akleh, a Palestinian reporter working for Al Jazeera, was shot and killed by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank. Tell us, first of all, what are the facts as they stand right now? What have eyewitnesses said happened compared with what the Israelis have said have happened? As you'll know, I used to work at Al Jazeera, and I didn't know Shireen personally, but she was, as Kamahl was saying, she was one of those journalists who you just knew of because she was such an important journalist in the Arab world. This cannot happen in this manner. And, you know, the Qatari government, who owns Al Jazeera, have called it state-sponsored Israeli terrorism, which is an extraordinarily strong phrase, but probably not far off the truth.
This is Al Jazeera.
And live from Studio 14 here at Al Jazeera headquarters in Doha, I'm Kamahl Santamaria. Welcome to the News Grid. It's our planet and our future, so we're devoting the whole broadcast to it. So here we are at the live wall, and we've got the Chinese Premier meeting the Belgian Prime Minister in Brussels right now. It's a busy time, isn't it, for the Chinese Premier? But as we've been pointing out over and over again, this is how China is going to operate now. It is a good time for it to be stepping up and showing it is looking at climate change. Do you accept that Israel is an occupying force in the Palestinian territories?
Absolutely not. We live in Israel. It's been our homeland for thousands of years.
So what's the occupied West Bank? What's Gaza? What are they?
Home. The West Bank, I call it Judea and Samaria. It's part and parcel of Israel.
We are breaking into programming here on Al Jazeera, 11:45 GMT, about 1:45 in the afternoon in Cairo, Egypt. Live continuing coverage here on Al Jazeera of a day of mass protest. They called it a day of rage. It is fast turning into that. That looks like a trail of tear gas there being fired in the foreground. There comes another one coming down as well. This is extraordinary. This is the capital of Egypt on a Friday afternoon. The streets, every street in Taqloban is an absolute mess, and they need cleaning up, which means you've got ready-made jobs. And this is why you've got, just in this area we're in right now, upwards of 20,000 people lining up every morning for the Work for Cash scheme. It means they get a job, they get a little bit of money in their pocket, and they play a big role in the rescue of their own city. Look how close that is between Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. 1% there, 3% in 2008. George Bush had a fairly good win in 2004. Alan Lichtman's joining me here, nice to see you, professor from the American University in Washington, a man who has famously picked the winners for how many years? 30 years?
30 years, since before you were born.
Okay, I'll go with that.
I thought you would.
Don't all laugh.
Yeah.